Yes.
It's yours.
Okay. Just a second. Good morning. First of all, I want to say the words of thanks because for me and for my country at all, it is very important to say about things which happens with us. And actually today, I want to see not exactly Vertep classic, yeah, but the topic is wartime Vertep. Yes. Today I would like to tell you how the traditional of the Ukrainian puppet nativity scene Vertep was transformed with the beginning of the war in Ukraine and why many Ukrainian theater directors turned to this tradition in their work now. However, I would like to start by reminding you what a Ukrainian Vertep is. Vertep is an ancient Ukrainian puppet theater in which religious and everyday scenes were played. The theater had the form of a two-story wooden building, you can see. A Christmas drama was shown on the second floor, and a satirical domestic interlude was shown on the first floor. This interlude was highly social and relevant for the time when the play was performed. In our time, Vertep was rarely represented in the professional Ukrainian theater. Of course, there were performances based on this tradition, but they were few. However, with the beginning of the war, the situation changed and many Ukrainian directors began to turn to this tradition. I know of about 5 Vertep performances that have been created in the last 1 year. Today, on the example of 3 of them, that productions, I would like to explore this phenomenon of the wartime Vertep. Yes, and first we beginning from the performances of the Mariupol theater. Yes, you see, this is exactly the theater whose building was destroyed, and part of the actors who were able to leave Mariupol together with the director Lyudmila Kolosovich moved to the city of Uzhgorod, and in the building of the Uzhgorod theater, the Mariupol theater received a second life, and one of the first premieres of the Renovate collective was a performance which called Vertep of Donetsk region. And according to the creators of the performance, it was dedicated to the defenders of Ukraine, which, by the way, we can see on the poster of the play. Here it is a poster. In Ukrainian, it's named Vertep Donetchiny. And here's a poster. And here you can see the original photo which used for this poster. This photo was made on the Azovstal in Mariupol. Yes, and the author of that photo, Dmitro Kozatsky. In the photo, we see a Ukrainian soldier on whom a beam of light falls throughout the bombed ceiling. It is Azovstal. And it seems that this ray was sent by God in order to protect that military man. It is difficult to think of better poster for Vertep, which is dedicated to Ukrainian soldiers. And actually, in the play, in the performance, director Lyudmila Kolosovich combined drama and puppet theater. This is theater within a theater. The actors played. One second. The actors played the characters of seminarists and their friends who together make a Vertep box in order to show the audience a puppet show. Actually, we have two shows. One show, it is a traditional puppet show which held in this Vertep box, and another story, it is only dramatic story about these guys who make this Vertep box and want to show their performance to the audience. Yes, and we go. And the second example is the play directed by Irina Tsipina at the First Academic Ukrainian Theatre for Children and Youth in the city of Lviv. The play is called just Vertep, and it is important that this director works in a puppet theatre, but also makes production in drama theatre. In this case, it is a dramatic theatre using masks and some costume puppets and so. In the play, absolutely all roles are performed by women. The director says that while all men are defending Ukraine, women are defending Ukrainian culture. Yeah. The canonical part is solved in the style, but director gives the style of ancient Greek theater, where there are masks and chorus. You can see. All the characters of the traditional Vertep are also present. The performance uses authentic Ukrainian singing. And the second part is completely built on memes born during the war. Just so. It's mean during the war we have some situation which become memes in our society. For example, we have example a woman that shot down a drone with a box of cucumbers. She was on the kitchen do her house work, and she see the drone behind the window, and she, okay, I take the box with cucumbers, and it is it's a real story, and this story became like a meme. Yes, another meme which all Ukrainians understand. For example, peaceful Ukrainian citizens which suggested that Russian soldiers put sunflower seeds in their jacket pockets. Why? Ask them. Because when they died, sunflowers would grow up in that place. Yeah, it's every Ukrainian known about it. All the second domestic part of that Vertep is built by these memes, and all personages, all characters speak with each other by that in that language, in that meme language. Yes, it is important that in first part Irod could not be killed, and he died in the second part. It is, I think it's like a symbolically. Okay, and the third performance is a performance by the Kharkiv State Academy and Puppet Theatre, which was created as part of the residency held at the Lviv Puppet Theatre. The director is well-known Ukrainian, and I think in Europe too, director Oksana Dmitrieva. Yes, it's one of slide. Okay, a symbolic unification of the east of Ukraine and its took place. The performance is an author's reading of the classic Vertep. This is an experimental production that uses a minimum of words, only canonical biblical texts and carols. There is no usually story, there is a ritual action that brings us back to the ancient plot of birth and death, gives us faith in the victory of good and light. The theme of Christmas is used to understand the events that are currently taking place in Ukraine. In a country wounded by war, Christ is born constantly here and now. The story of the struggle between God and evil is directly connected with the real current historical event and units of Ukraine. And the authors of that performance say that in classical history it was important to save one child, Christ, but our common task today is to save all Ukrainian children. Yes, and so it is a three performance about what I want to say, and so we have the question, and I have my mind, yes, about this. These are three good examples of verteps that have been created in the last year. So, why do Ukrainian directors so often turn to this tradition now? I think there are several reasons. The first, in history itself. In classical history, there is a clear separation between God and evil. On the one hand, the Tsar, who has lost his mind and wants to kill everyone for his own goal. And now this is a very clearly and relevant allegory for everyone Ukrainians, because everyone understands who is the Tsar which lost his mind. Yes, on the other hand, there are ordinary people who just wanted to be left alone and given the opportunity to live their own lives. This is also understandable and symbolic for the Ukrainian people now. However, this is not the only reason why directors often turn to this material now. It seems to me that tradition itself is taking the first place now as a sign of Ukrainianness. The situation for our people is this. If Russia ends the war now and goes home from our territory, then the war will simply end. But if Ukraine stops defending itself now, it will be destroyed as a state and as a nation. In this situation, where a nation is on the verge of destruction, what can unite the nations comes first. And such a thing is a tradition. The tradition of dance, singing, visual arts and theater as well. The tradition of the Ukrainian theatrical Vertep is a unique phenomenon that identifies and shows belonging to Ukraine. A tradition that unites different regions. Lviv, Kharkiv, Kyiv, Odessa became one, and thanks for Vertep also. Many regions of Ukraine now want to make Vertep, even where it was not done before, because Vertep it means Ukrainian, and people now want to show that they are Ukrainians, not Russians, and that this is their land and they will not give up. So, the theatrical tradition of the Ukrainian Vertep has become one of the traditions that helps to live and identify the whole nation. Thank you. Yeah.
And now it's time for the questions, comments, and also answers. Me too. So do you have, yes?
I just have a very quick question. What is the material which we saw in It's tissue and I think it's rice in the bag. Food.
Food.
for the weight, you know. That was very interesting.
Thank you.
Desires? No. I would like to ask about Vertep, about the position of the role of Cossack person, because also in the Vertep tradition it's a very popular person because of this, this not biblical, but this life topic.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
No.
do you see some changes in the role of Cossack or using of this figure in the Vertep theater now?
You know, directors in Ukraine do that. They take the first part. It's a religious part, and that part especially not changed. But the second part, they want, they do what they want, and sometimes there are no Cossacks, and sometimes it's just for their mind. They want to, they do what they want. So it's. Yeah, it's our director of Funima.
We discuss about some kind of reinvention and reliving of Cossack figure in Ukrainian theater now because of his great role in the identity of Ukrainian people at the beginning of the 20th century, also in the Vertep performances, but you know, in the Ukrainian identifications.
Yes, I think maybe it must change because now we have another Cossacks. It's our army, and they're our Cossacks, you know. And because the person of Cossacks, it's the man who come and everything will be fine. He so okay, and yeah. Thank you.
Just a small reflection, maybe not a question, but well, according to the theme of our conference, I'm thinking that Ukraine and the tradition of Vertep is really something unbelievable because probably it's the only one European country today when the tradition is so hardly developed the contemporary theater, not only public theater, the theater in general.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the reasons is that during the decades it was forbidden before the independence at the beginning of the 90s. I remember well.
Yeah.
It was absolutely forbidden, this form of the theater, very old traditional theater, to show to the audience. I remember, it will be not a question, just small reflection. I remember just at the beginning probably of the 90s, one of the directors of the Lutsk theater, the
You know.
decided to create the new festival of the nativity traditions from very different countries. And this festival was
Mysteria, yeah?
organized during many years till the beginning of our century. And he offered the kind of different reflection about the nativity scenes from very different countries. But for the Ukraine, it was something absolutely incredible. I remember my first visit there. I drive by car to Ukraine, and for the first time, just before because it's going every time during the Christmas time, and I remember just the road between the Polish-Ukrainian border to Lutsk. It's not a long distance, approximately 100 kilometers, maybe less. And really, on each small village, I have seen the small companies of the young people, of the teenagers, with the Vertep, with
Yeah.
the box of the Vertep, who stopped the car just to present his show.
Yeah, yeah.
To express the new
Yeah,
emotions
it's
of
a
the nation
tradition, yeah.
for the first time after so many decades of being
Yeah.
closed for that. It was impossible. Even in Russia, it was impossible to perform the Vertep because it's another version of the Vertep in Russia,
Yeah, yeah.
but originally it's coming from Ukraine. And well, this festival, I would like to say only some words about this festival, which was absolutely incredible. And probably it is only one community, one nation. For example, I remember till today, in all Ukrainian theater schools, puppetry schools, they have the obligation, all the students, to propose Vertep, perform, to create Vertep, new Vertep, completely not connected
New version, yeah.
with the old version of
Yeah,
very
yeah.
religious. But I have seen many Verteps in my life, and that is really something. It is something like Punch and Judy at one moment in Great Britain, because you know this ceremony in London in Covent Garden every year when they celebrate the anniversary of Punch and Judy, with the, starting from the church and starting from the presentation of all the puppeteers on the Covent Garden Square. It is something incredible, and it's really very political, very actual, very, very fresh, because they can put to the Vertep all emotions or feelings or options, political options, international options, just to discuss with the history, just to propose something for the future. Then, according to our conference, I think the tradition of Vertep and that the strong existence of Vertep in the contemporary theater, which inspired more than I think other traditional forms of the theater, contemporary puppetry are. I don't know the final results of this artistic results, because it's different, but it's still something very fresh and very, very, very actual. Then I don't know, this festival in Lutsk, of course.
I remember that festival named Mysteria. Mysteria. Yeah, it is a very famous festival, but it's held only a few times. It's not now. It's we have now that festival. Yeah, but yes, actually. Thank you.
I just want to say that, small commentary, that actually because of war, our nation became more and more powerful. And war is not only about territory or something. It's of course about culture. Because of our language, our tradition, theater, everything, yeah, because of our culture. And now really Ukrainians become more powerful, and when I come back to Ukraine, I just saw how they're happy. I know, go with Vyshyvanka, our national dance, sing the songs only Ukrainian, and of course speak in only Ukrainian. Yeah, we really have this big problem with Russian culture, Ukrainian Russian, because we have very involved of Russian culture. That is true. But really, this war helped us just to realize that yes, we're Ukrainians, and we have our tradition, our culture, our language. And I'm really now happy with, I don't know, 2 years actually, yeah? And how powerful, and I saw everywhere our people. And I'm really happy that now we talk about it. And I'm really thank you, Dmitro, for this material. It's really very important to talk about it, because yeah, we have now here things in Czech Republic, yeah, but in Europe, this country is still war, is still people at the time. So just thank you for this introduction.
Yes, actually, I talk about that Vertep is a part of our culture, and now culture it is a point of common point with everyone Ukrainians, and I think so that's why directors thinking and do making Verteps. It's because they feeling it's our culture. We must protect them.
Actually, not because other work has, so it's still work.
I want to say that in my city, in Lyon, the diaspora, the Ukrainian diaspora is performing Vertep, every year. I didn't know that before because we have a church, Ukrainian church in Lyon, and every year the Vertep is performing there. Not with puppets, it's just with children, etc. And because myself, so I was traveling in Ukraine from the Maidan revolution, and I start to be very interested by all the tradition at this moment. And I'm looking where it's possible to find a Vertep. And I understood too late, but it's possible to see one very close to my home. So it was like, I was very happy to know that, of course. And I just want also to make a testimony about the Maidan revolution, because I think it's, on my point of view, also at this moment, maybe that that it was so important for Ukrainians to know what are the different traditions in Ukraine. And I know that Vertep was performing during the Maidan, not with puppet again, because it's also
It's by human. Yeah, by human.
You,
No, by human. But
by human. And during the religious part, when Herod say that he want to kill all the children, the audiences, and it was created like this, understood that Herod is Putin, and the child are the Ukrainian teenager.
yeah, it's.
And so this allegory is still alive, I think. And for me, the Vertep is also more than a formal things with the box of etc. It's also a spirit, something like this. Because I think that I don't know. I think that it could be. We can find it in poetry also. We can find some element of Vertep in really different art. And yeah, so it's more than something with puppet, I think. And it's very important. So I completely agree with your opinion of what are the tradition today in Europe. And yeah, because I don't know why we don't know so much Vertep in France, in other countries. Something new also for us. So apart from the diaspora. So
Thank you.
It's also a remark because we have been talking about nationalism today a lot, I think, and this concept of tradition and nation is really connected. And I think the ones who are in the European Union, we try to find a common identity but can't find it, and are thrown back on the national identities, and I don't know what this will get, but it's really difficult. Sometimes it's a good and fruitful combination, sometimes it's getting dangerous and difficult, and I think we just have to be aware of this connection of nationalism and tradition.
I would like to add to this that I think it's very curious how when we got all these different perspectives on the tradition in different countries, and also I think we got a good overview on the multifacetedness maybe of tradition and how it can be used as a political or as an identifying tool to build an identity, but it has many faces, so it's Kleist essay, which is also, so we see like the influence tradition has on every kind of thing, like our history has of our, on our arts, our artistic work, but also on our way of thinking, on our way of working. And yeah, this is just a vast brainstorm now, but I do think it's very fruitful to like have this different perspectives in mind when thinking further about tradition and modernity and how one does affect the other. Is on that we need to do it on this on very different levels of thinking about it, understanding it, and also discussing it. So thank you. Yeah.
So that's now my turn to conclude and to thank to everyone. At the beginning, I promised you we will have maybe answers, but as I see, we have more questions at the beginning. So I think we should.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
Fulfill next 3 days, but let's have a break, and in the future, let's meet and discuss and rethink what we were saying there. It was so inspiring, so important to speak and to open so many questions. As you concluded that it could be also dangerous, not only in a positive way. It's so important to speak, to talk, to think, and to explain. Thank you very much for so many different points of view. It was so inspiring for me. I promise there will be a book, so we can return back to it and maybe continue in the future. And I would like especially thank you for your contribution, because you
It's like improvisation.
gave me an idea how to really close this discussion, because you said it, tradition unifies, connects, and identifies, and I think that's true. That's the point, and we can discuss it more in the future. So thank you, everyone, my contributors, my speakers. It was wonderful. You did a great work. Thank you, the audience, for listening, having questions, being here with us, and see you in the future. Thank you. Before I invite you for a lunch, there must be a commercial break. Don't worry. I just want